Displacement has caused a great suffering to the people in Yemen. The IDPs are struggling to earn their living or to find an adequate accommodation. This report has more on this.
Dozens of families were expelled from their camp of displacement, so they sought refuge in a garbage dump. Hanadi Zaid was living in the displacement camp in Al-Kahf al-Hamra in Daba area south of Taz. And when she was forced to leave the camp with other displaced people, her 2 children died from the cold. After the forced expulsion, Hanadi and other displaced families went to the city of Al-Turba to search for a safe shelter, so they lived in a small shop with 4 other families. However, they decided to head to the garbage dump and erected flimsy rags, as they could not even provide tents. Hanadi's story is not the only one. Tens of thousands of displaced people have been displaced by the war. The tragedy of displacement grows on the sidelines of people's life amid war and worsens in the shadows to turn into a forgotten suffering. Reports say that the war has caused the displacement of nearly 4,500,000 people, the largest internal displacement since the beginning of the war in 2015. In Tai's governorate and the areas under the control of the legitimate government, there are approximately 54,000 displaced people distributed in 120 gathering points. The tragedy of Hanadi and the other families who used to find an alternative shelter in Al-Kahf al-Hamra camp multiplied after they were expelled. The conditions of the camp in which they lived for 2 years before the expulsion were so bad. The camp lacked the most basic services. There was no water, no food, no health care, no education or protection. Hanadi tirelessly turned to all the officials and organizations of the Norwegian Refugee Council in order to save the lives of the displaced. Displaced families are in desperate need of protection from the cold. They eat what people give them, and they can't even afford medicine or healthcare services. They live in the midst of these harsh conditions on what people give them. Do you realize what it means for people to accept living in the middle of rubbish and prefer to die of disease rather than begging from relief organizations and government agencies?